Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. So today I am in a different place. Um, so because I would be in this place for a long time because there is something happening here. So they had to change me into another place. So I'm better here, really. But this will be like my home for the next month. So today I've been doing a moving in the whole day. So I hope you were able today to read the blog so you can have kind of an idea. During the moving, I just found the green one and the black one, so I have no idea where are the rest. Maybe in some box around, but I will try to find them tomorrow. So I will use this too today. So remember that we are in the month of Capricorn during the week of the mental, the mind, and we are today with the topic of the law of generation related to the root chakra. So let's begin with the topic for today, which is the law of generation. Generation. Let's go first to the meaning of the word. For us, generation is to create things, to generate something, okay, to do something outside. But the origin of the word in Greek language is gen, gen, which is gen, and gen comes from the word. It means origin. Gen means origin, and also this comes from the Indo-European language, which is also gen, jin, that means to give birth. So that's the meaning, to give birth. So gen is related to the generation of things, with the products of things, but is specifically related with the origin, from where they come from. So all the words that today we use, like gene, origin, genital, gender, all these words are coming from gene, okay, from this word. So as you see, we today use the word gene for many things. It's important to know that the word of this. It's important to know the origin of the word, because now we can use it in a different way with a different idea. For example, today we are speaking a lot about the ideology of gender, but when we understand the origin of the word, gender is not related to what do you think about your sexuality, is about your origin, from where you come from, which is related with the genes. So it's not about the idea of what you feel about sexuality, it's about the origin of where you come from. Okay, so now we can understand that when we say ideology of gender, it's weird because the same word is saying that it's not an ideology, it comes from the biology, the origin. So, for example, we have also the history of the origin that we know of Genesis. Also, we have the concepts of being unique and special that we call genuine or genius. And also the origin of a group of people that we call there's no word English for this. People in Spanish is gente, that comes from that word. Okay. So regarding the law of generation, I spoke today in blog regarding the idea of God being the one that generates the things, being the origin of all the things. Something very simple. This is God. That is God. The unique. God is basically this vacuum where all the things emerge. So this center of darkness, of vacuum, is the point from where the energy emerges to create the rays of light and everything that is around, which is this space. So that's why this is what we call the origin. So God, the divine, is a constant vacuum that is original. I don't know if you have seen this, but in a different way than we have begun the other laws that were created by the waves and so on. This is the seventh law, and even though I am already speaking about it, and I hadn't even begun to create the other ones. So I repeat again, the reason why we divide the 7 laws of the universe in these 7 steps is because our mind needs to put an order in a line to understand a process that happens in the infinite with no end and no beginning. So I don't know if you know why to God they used to call it Alpha and Omega. This is because the ABC of Greece. In times of Greece, they said that God was the Holy Word. So the ABC that begin with the letter A, which is Alpha, and ended with the letter O, which is Omega, they said this is the whole cycle of creation. God is the cycle, a circle. So it begins and ends constantly. So that's why they call it the Alpha and the Omega. So today, for us, would be called the A and the Z. But for the Greeks, the last one was the O. This divine is the Alpha and the Omega. So the Alpha is the mind, and the Omega is the generation. So generation, we call it the last one of the laws on being created, but this one closed the cycle again. So that's why it begins again. It comes back to the origin. So generation is the beginning and the end of all the things. So the generation means that the gene, the origin, is the beginning and the end. So this takes us this idea that for the universe, it doesn't really exist a beginning or an end. Because in a circle like this, it's impossible to define where it begins and where it ends. It's a constant cycle. So there's no beginning and no end. It's constant. Remember, this is a consequence. So mentalism is the only thing that exists in the whole universe. So when the mentalism of the cosmos expands to the outside by correspondence, from that moment on, the mentalism will be called generation. And the reason why generation starts to be the main one is because once it polarizes itself, the joints of this polarity will be a new origin. So this origin starts to repeat once and again. To that origin we call cause. And the result of this cause is called effect. So in order to have different causes with the different effects, what we will need is to have or vibrate in different vibrations with different rhythms. Do you see how it's impossible to separate the universal laws. It's impossible to separate them because all of them are this. There's only one thing. As you see here, once the mind projected itself outside, everything that happened after that will be a reflection of the original idea, which this means generation. So this means that anything that could happen afterwards would be just a distortion and reflection of the original idea. So the whole picture is that everything is in mind generating an idea, which is generation, that projects into the outside by correspondence, creating the polarity by this correspondence from the inside and the outside. And this polarity creates a middle point in the axis, which is another idea of generation that is a cause. And this cause will create an effect that will bring this to generation. And the way you can transform a cause to create a different is by changing your vibration and the speed of the rhythms. See? I hope you get it, because I don't know if there is another way to make a summary of this. Okay. Okay. For those who has been religious or rise up as a religious person, we will call this point God. Or for those who are not religious, we will call it the origin. Here there's only mind. The mind projects from the internal to the external, from the negative to the positive. So in this moment is when we leave the Big Bang, the great explosion. So here we come back to the negative and we leave the elements. Elements. So we have all the chemical elements. Then we project them, creating galaxies. Galaxies. Then we go again to create worlds. The worlds. We come back again to create life. So we go down again to create evolution. We come back again to create an individual. So from this breathing in of this being that is thinking about itself, the Big Bang appears in the outside. And this Big Bang is the one joining the vibrations and energy, creating the chemical elements. Nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. From the chemical elements, they start to get together, creating the galaxies, the suns, the stars. After the galaxies, around the suns and the stars, we have the worlds. And the worlds are those who doesn't have their own light, so they reflect the light. So these worlds, through the new combinations of the chemical elements, appear life. And from life begins the path of evolution, which is the different paths, histories that makes ourselves transform through time. And this is what generates a conscious individual. Experiences. And this individual will live different lives with different experiences. We are making a very short summary of the whole history, of course. So there comes the day when the individual becomes aware that it is also capable to generate through the mind. So this being through the mind says, okay, I am the creator now. So I transform the individual that I am. I begin a new path of evolution through the inside. I change my life. I conquer new worlds. I go and expand the galaxies within and outside. I accomplish to transform the elements, the chemical elements, to make alchemy. From this alchemy, I come back to the origin of all the material things, so I can become God again. As you see, each one of these dots here is a gene. So another origin. So this path going there, we call it my. And this path coming back is called I am. Let's see it in another way. We have here some weird people all sharing together. All these things here are original beings. So this means that all of them have a self, an I, to refer to themselves. Originals. So each one of us, each one of you there, you are an original, because each one of us has an origin. Each one of us has a different attribute of the origin. So that's why we say you have to awake the individual, the self of yourself. You have to awake your originality. We used to say these things, that we have to come back to the one, to the self of each one of us. And all of these beings are connected one another through a network. So remember, in the universe, everything is only one thing. But here, we see different beings. So we see I. But what happens when we do this? What do you think about this? This is a cosmic brochet of people. Cosmic brochet of people. Do you know this stick that you put different things, food, and you cook it? Do you see these two waves, the positive wave, the negative wave? For the universe, this is a spiral. Negativo, positivo, negativo. Bueno, no, en realidad, positivo, negativo, negativo, positivo, negativo. Huh? They are the chakras. Okay? Chakras. And this line we see here is the same dots that we see in these people, but without separation, from the point of view of unity. This is eternal. It's not just sin. It's eternal and has thousands and thousands of curling shapes like the DNA when it creates a chromosome. So all this interaction of individuals is like a chromosome of God. I say I am original is true, because I come from the original. I come from the origin. But each one of us is in a different symphony. So each one of this will be unique. So this will be original being musician. This will be original being doctor. This will be original being an artist. This will be original being a loving a lover. This will be original being a teacher, whatever. So this means that in different symphonies, we all have originality. This is why we all have to be different. This is why we all have to be unique. Because if we are not unique, if we do all the same things, there's no evolution. This is why we were said that we have to come back to the origin that we have, to the main origin of everything, but through our own originality. This is what we call come back to the I am. And this is why the only way we can really connect with the self is by generating things, generating life, generating projects, generating ideas, generating things, generating just with doing something. That's the way in which we connect with the origin that goes through all of us. The whole universe is connected to the origin, and this is why to connect with the universe, you have to originate things. And this is the law of generation in between so many other things. And if this was not really well understood, so maybe you need to look for another originals that shows you different ways to reach this information. And go deeper into it. So information for today. The vibration for today is yo. The statement for today is I am the stair of experience. The code for today is divinity. The code for today, divinity, is the quality of being related to God, from the word divus and devi. Is the concept that comprises everything related with God or a God. The concept itself reminds us that if everything originates in the center of the cosmos and we are simply projections of the origin of the creator, then divinity lives in us. For that, in all the ancient civilizations, they honored so many divinities. For it was known that every being had a divine aspect for being direct products of the universe. So let's go to the alignment. So sit comfortable and focus on your breathing. I take a deep breath as I become aware of the environment that surrounds me. With my imagination, I start to design around me a library full with books and different galleries. I recognize that all these books are patterns and information within my subconscious. This library is my own Akashic records, and I am the only librarian. I recognize that I am here to look for some information that allow me to become much more aware of my capacity to generate. I set the intention to look into this library for the pattern that is not allowing me to be original and to generate my own reality. I jump into these galleries full with books, feeling which one of them is calling me. When I find it, I take it between my hands and recognize it. With this book, I go to the main hall, observing in front of me the stairs of my unconscious, leading to the office filled with light, with clarity of my conscious. I set the intention to go up through the stairs of the unconsciousness, a stare filled with all my experience through the existence, willing to reach the consciousness, to bring clarity to this pattern that is not allowing me to be original. Without expectations, without making any strength, no judgment, I open the book and let myself receive this data, this information of the pattern that is stopping me from generate in my life. I begin to integrate this information, bringing the book to my root chakra. Take a deep breath and become aware setting the intention to use this pattern as a tool in order to become original and able to generate life through consciousness. I observe the stairs that took me to be what I am today through all experiences. I am the stair of experiences. I am the stairs to experiences. I am the stairs to experiences. I use. I remember that after we come back, we have to write down all this data of this pattern that we have worked with in this within ourselves. And in order to awake this information within, I start to stretch the body and bring this consciousness through caressing, stretching, and yawning all around the body, and each one at its own time come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being here, and as always, see you tomorrow at the same time.